Today, Talk That Talk will be addressing part 1 of a 4-part series titled Royalty is Skin Deep. In part 1, titled We've Been Lied to from the Start, we will be taking a look into systematic brainwashing in Christianity and the need for so many denominations and divide. A personal look into my story from Christianity to where I am today. In part 2, titled Fits Like a Glove, we will be identifying who we are with irrefutable evidence of history matching our current plight as a whole. In part 3, titled The Curse, we will take a special look into why the Most High allowed slavery and destruction on our nation. Part 4, concluding our series titled Paradise is Calling. Question: Junior, so what? And what's the big deal of us knowing all of this? What's in it for me? Let's begin. Part 1. We've been lied to from the start. From this single book, the Bible, we have, according to Biomed Central databases and statistics, 30,000 Christian denominations as today. It's amazing how the premise of thought can actually make you look beyond this and not agree all of these Christian denominations are at tug of war to who has full sovereignty and carries the truth. Some say it doesn't matter if we worship God in different ways. There is only one God and He loves us all regardless of denominations or divide. And I disagree, because if this was the case, then we all should be able to live in harmony and at peace with our fellow believers in other denominations without getting into Parliament, House of Commons type of disputes with animosity, etc. Here are just a few out of that great number, 30,000, possibly factual as a number, but today we are going to be dealing with 6. At number 1, the Pentecostal Church. Founder of this movement was Agnes Osman. A few things Pentecostals are recognized for. For Pentecostals, worship is a full body, participatory engagement with God. The common hallmarks of Pentecostalism, such as speaking in tongues, spiritual healing, and miraculous signs, manifest God's presence as an embodied, participatory, ecstatic encounter with the Holy Spirit. At number 2, the Baptist Church. Founder of this movement was John Smith, and Thomas Helwys established the first church. In 1612, Thomas Helwys established a Baptist congregation in London, consisting of congregants from Smith's Church. A number of Baptist churches sprang up and they became known as the General Baptists. The particular Baptists were established when a group of Calvinist separatists adopted believers' baptism. At number 3, the Methodist Church. Founder of this movement was John Wesley. Methodists generally accept the Apostles' Creed and the Nicene Creed as declarations of shared Christian faith. Methodism also affirms the traditional Christian belief in the triune Godhead, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, as well as the Orthodox understanding of the humanity and divine divinity of Jesus Christ. At number 4, we have the Catholic Church. Founder of this movement was, according to history of the Catholic Church, Jesus Christ. According to Catholic tradition, the Catholic Church was founded by Jesus Christ. The New Testament records Jesus' activities and teachings, his appointment of the 12 apostles, and his instructions to them to continue his work. At number 5, the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Founders of this movement are Ellen G. White, James Springer White, Joseph Bates, J. N. Andrews. Many Seventh-day Adventists believe Ellen G. White to be a prophetess. Seventh-day Adventists share many of the basic beliefs of Protestant Christianity, including acceptance of the authority of the Bible, recognition of the existence of human sin and need for salvation, and belief in the atoning work of Christ, according to Adventist meaning history beliefs. At number 6, Jehovah's Witnesses. Founder of this movement was Charles Taze Russell. Charles Taze Russell is considered the founder of what would become modern-day Jehovah's Witnesses. Russell did not intend to form a new religious movement, and he never claimed to have received a special revelation or divine inspiration. So why do we have Jehovah's Witnesses making up great numbers of Christianity overall? Just a question to put out there. So, after seeing clear evidence that the majority of Christian denominations or churches have a foundation date, knowing the Bible, the book which is the source of all these religious denominations, its origin goes back thousands of years, then the question needs to be asked: who were black people worshipping before, and what were they doing prior to the 1600s, the 1700s, and the 1800s? Is it a coincidence why there are practically no black people who also found or started any of these 6 dominant Christian institutions? Could it be because we were not smart enough? Why are the majority of these religions forwarded to us through white people? No race issue. It's a known fact that black people, whether categorized by being black African American, black Caribbean, black British, we make up the majority in all these congregations worldwide. Black people are more committed to religion. This is from the PEW Research Center. Do more research, I'm sure you'll find out more information proving this, or you may know already. I used to wonder why there were numerous churches in a lot of black populated areas. I also noticed there was never a problem with black people coming together in great numbers, in thousands, in religious conventions, interacting, kids playing in harmony. Whatever the church name was, it was fine, as long as we all agreed with the founders of our churches' doctrines or dogma and worshipped God the way they set it up. Everything would be just fine. You're never really allowed to question the doctrine or inquire or even have a different opinion to the leaders, or you'll be labeled a rebel, an antichrist, or a cult leader, leading to you being disfellowshipped. A bit about my history. So, as promised, a personal look into the life of JR, what it was like growing up in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, a little bit of the history of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, my transitional years from teens into my 20s, into my 30s, to where I am today, and my beliefs. So, I remember when we was young, key things that stood out for me were the Sabbath, the starting of the Sabbath, from sunset on Friday evening, whether it was summer or winter, whenever the sun went down, it was the beginning of the Shabbat or the Sabbath, where any activities of entertainment, watching the TV, playing, having cussing matches with my brothers, whatever it was, stopped when the sun went down on Friday. What would happen was my dad would call all of my brothers, including myself, Anthony, Simon, myself, Stephen and Andrew. You know what I mean? Get your Bibles, get your Sabbath school quarterlies, recite your memory verses that you were supposed to be remembering throughout the week. What did you do this week? What did the Lord do for you this week, etc., etc. If you wasn't doing that, there were a few biblical cartoons that we all could get ourselves stuck into. There were a few Seventh-day Adventist literature videos such as Kenneth Cox dealing with the prophecies of Daniel and Revelation. There was so much things to do, you know what I mean? There were quizzes to do, etc., etc. And this was a normal thing in my life from probably the age of 5 and 6 to I reached 16. You know what I mean? It was a thing that had to be done week in, week out. We didn't know anything else. And a bit of the history of the Seventh-day Adventist Church is it was founded by a lady called Ellen G. White in the 1800s, to where later on the members would lay claim that she was a prophetess and her books were inspired and could be used alongside scriptures, basically. You know what I mean? So Seventh-day Adventists are renowned and known for the health message that they put out there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that make the Seventh-day Adventists stand out a lot more than the other denominations and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So as you can imagine, growing up was hard sometimes, you know what I mean? Because I used to love football. I was good at playing it and stuff like that. And usually on Saturdays would be the day you would play for your local team, meet up with your friends, go to the cinema, go to their house, do whatever, you know what I mean? But obviously, like I said, on Fridays, on Fridays, sunset till sunset on Saturday, it was devotion to the Sabbath day. There was no TV, there was really nothing you could really do but just congregate with other children your age doing the same things, basically, you know what I mean? And it was something that was the norm for myself, and it was trained behavior, you know what I mean? Growing up to my teenage years, me and my brothers and other friends from the church started realizing that there was more to life than being transported to church by your parents every week, and that there was other things that we could get up to. So, for example, there were things called youth days, camp meetings, and other days that would take place a few times a year, where the majority of churches across the whole of London and England would all meet up in one place. Example, like Alexandra Palace, where there'd be thousands of people linking up, worshipping, listening to preachers and pastors, etc., like that. So we use that as a way for us to network and for us to have fun type of thing, you know what I mean? It was the first time we was able to take British transport by ourselves, have a little money in our pocket, and come back home a little later, you know what I mean? So as you can imagine, as I got into my teenage years, going on to 15, 16, things just kind of turned left in respect to the church and stuff. I didn't have anything against the church and the beliefs and stuff, but it was just that I couldn't balance and manage the peer pressure, and feeling that I was missing out on life. So when I got to the age of 16, I remember going to Kingston College, and because it was a mixed college and stuff like that, and I weren't really used to interacting like that, I used to be one of many people that used to just be in the canteens, walking up and down on the road and just wanting to roam about and to just mess about until December, January. I remember my dad coming into the room with a letter, sitting me down and saying, yeah, you've been kicked off the course, what are you going to do with your life? So my dad was like, look, you're going to have to start fixing up, doing certain things, etc., etc. And at that time, there was a lot going on, and I wasn't really ready to commit myself to education properly and stuff like that. I just couldn't concentrate like that. Not to say I had any learning issues or anything, but I just didn't really want to do that at this point of my life. So my dad said, you're going to have to find a job or go to college, whatever. Now, I remember, because I could cut hair and I was good at cutting hair, one of my friends from Wandsworth said to me that there's a vacancy in the Emmanuel's barbershop in Clapham Junction, to where they were looking for people to work there. So I've gone there with two of my friends, cut their hair. They're loving it. They're saying you can cut. When can you start, etc. So I started working in the barbershop. So bear in mind, I've gone to secondary school, and I'm mixing with children of the state from different homes and stuff like that, but it's a different kettle of fish working in a barbershop, because there's all types of people that are coming into this one place to get their haircut. So I'm learning from street college quite fast, because there's things that I'm learning through conversations, because you have all types of people that get their haircut, you know what I mean? So I'm learning at a fast rate. So as I'm learning with the skills that I've got already, I'm just getting more engrossed in living my life, having a bit of spirituality in me, but the spirituality that was within me kind of got shut down by the conversations that I was having with all types of people, of all types of walks of life. For example, people that were saying that Christianity is a made-up religion, or you know what I'm saying. So because I wasn't able to be official in a conversation to refute what they were saying, it was like, as the years went on, I wouldn't say my faith diminished, because I was always a spiritual person and I had that discernment with me, but I started questioning the faith more, if you get my point. Things didn't really make sense. I'd be talking to certain people around me and talking about Christianity and Jesus and stuff like that. They would really get angry and talk about this was used in slavery, etc., etc., to keep us all under one. So I used to be thinking to myself, "Raw, boy, is this what marijuana does to people?" You know what I mean? You know, because obviously I was still fresh, young blood, etc., etc. So as the years went on, without going into details, you know, the sort of things that teenagers and people that age get themselves into. I picked up the habit of smoking marijuana. Sorry, the habit of smoking marijuana, partying like a rock star, and doing all sorts of things. You know what I mean? Got myself into a few situations I was lucky to get myself out of, etc., etc. So I'm in my 20s now, and I still don't really understand the purpose of my life, etc. You know what I mean?
I just feel I'm not going anywhere spiritually. I'm holding down certain jobs. I'm not going to say it's a dead end job, because I don't really think any job's a dead end. It's work. You know what I mean? And from your working, it's doing something. So I didn't really see myself progressing in the way that I really felt I should be progressing. You know what I mean? So as the years are going on, I'm just going to jump from 2001, 3, 4, 5 straight into 2013. So I had a good friend of mine that I stay connected with from back in the day, who used to live in a barbershop with me back them days where we didn't really have nowhere to live, because we were kind of like the black sheep of our family. So anything we did was used against us, to like where we left home, and because we was good at what we did, I remember the manager for the barber used to say, look man, take the keys, you lot can stay at the back, do whatever you lot want, but don't burn down the place and have parties or whatever. So me and this person have been spiritual for all our lives, you know what I mean? I met him at Kingston College when we got kicked out. We linked up again. He was telling me he's a barber. I told him I was a barber, so we worked in the same shop, etc, etc. We do different things now and stuff like that, but we still remain connected. But I remember in 2013, he invited me to his house to watch a video, you know what I mean? Because we like to cut sometimes, not be like a waste man and not work or grind or get any money or anything like that. It wasn't like that, but certain times when work had done in the evening, we'll just roll up a few spliffs, get to drink and just chill off sort of thing. So we're watching this thing now, and it's called the Trojan Horse of Adventism. So I'm watching it, and the more I'm watching it is the more that this person who's orchestrated this presentation is opening up the Adventist faith like a can of worms. It was surreal. I'm saying to myself, how can't people see this type of thing? You get my point? So I remember talking with my mate, and we was at this stage where we was like, look man, we're gonna get to the bottom of this truth thing, because the higher, most high, Yah has a purpose for our life, and obviously we don't really know what it is, but we need to keep searching, and the more searching we do is the more we're gonna get closer to finding out what our purpose is and stuff. So I remember him inviting me to a service that was being held by the Gathering of Christ institution in Tulse Hill. You know what I mean? When we went there, the guy was breaking down Deuteronomy chapter 28. And Deuteronomy chapter 28, if we're going to be honest as Christians, I don't say Christians, but many Christians would have to be honest that a lot of them have been to church for over 10 years and decades, and they do not or did not know that the people spoken of in Deuteronomy chapter 28 were black people, period. I'm not getting into the ifs or buts or whatever, but no one really knew that. I didn't really know that myself. So we're getting the knowledge that the children of Israel were coloured people and black people, etc. So we're asking a question, so why are we in this situation, etc., etc. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm going to jump on from where I am now. So life is getting more difficult. We're getting sucked into more different schemes and things that are drawing us away from the Most High. So we're in 2018 now. Now I know I have to be honest that the marijuana and the effect of marijuana wasn't really helping me mentally or physically or in my life at all. I was strongly addicted to it. I couldn't function without it, so I knew that I had to cut that out full stop. You know what I mean? I had to cut it out full stop. And I was at a period to where I was wrestling for myself for the whole of the year in 2018 because I wanted to stop smoking and I couldn't do it. Cut a long story short, 2018, October the 3rd, I stopped smoking. But I still continued smoking tobacco. So I continued smoking tobacco because it was like my little weaning fetish that I wanted to keep doing until I just stopped full stop. So I'm saying to my brethren, look man, we got to pack in certain things that we're doing. Life is just a joke, man. Nothing's set out for us to like where we could win type of thing. We need to do better spiritually and stuff. So I'm saying to myself, look man, I need to return back to the Most High. And anyone who knows about Christianity or the belief of Christians know that if you want to come back to the Most High, you have to get baptized basically. So I was in a catch-22 because I wasn't gonna become a Seventh-day Adventist, get baptized in the church for me to have to leave, but claim that I got baptized, because when you go to the churches, they read out a fundamental that you have to be in agreement with. So what's the point of doing that? So I remember even having conversations with certain people that were saying it's totally fine to get baptized in a bath, etc., at the river, whatever. So I remember looking online for a congregation in London that kept to the fundamentals of the scriptures and wasn't traditional type of thing with religion, etc. So I'm looking online and a gathering called the House of Israel UK came up. So I'm going through the lessons for probably about a good 2 months before I showed my face to the gathering. So I've gone to the gathering. After the leaders spoke in his word, he said that he's having a baptism in Canterbury on the 25th of August. So immediately I said to him, can you put my name down, because this is made for me. I need to get baptized. I'm not asking no questions. I don't want to be asked, are you sure you're ready? Put my name down. So I used the time from July, the beginning of July, all the way to the end of August to stop smoking, to stop doing quite a few things. I'd stop watching the TV and listening to the sort of music that wasn't really positive for me anyway. So I was on a certain level anyway. So started going to the gathering, got baptized on the 25th, and the gathering probably had about 20 to 25 people max on a busy Shabbat. So it was quite a good gathering. After the service, we would all eat together, interact and talk about the week, pray, etc. The connection was really good. So, you know what I mean? The end of the year came, and I remember January came and things were picking up and stuff like that, until February came now, and So we're talking about 2020 February. So around February times, the coronavirus outbreak had started, but it hadn't reached our shores, etc., etc., or we weren't really talking about it. So I remember around March now, just after my birthday, Boris Johnson said that the whole place is getting locked off. You know what I mean? Everything's getting locked down. You can't go church, etc. We all know what you were saying. So the church just popped down, if you get my point. For weeks, even months. You know the story. So I remember taking 2 people's number from the House of Israel who I gravitated to a lot, and every time we spoke, I felt like I had known them for my whole life, type of thing. You know what I mean? So the names of these people are Curtis and Ziri, and I remember 2 months into the lockdown, I called both of them and I said, you know what? We need to keep up with the connection with this, with our faith and stuff. I know the church is locked down, the gathering's locked down, but we've got a duty to keep on searching for truth and doing what we got to do. So I remember us doing a few Zoom calls and stuff like that. Majority of days of the week, you know what I mean? And cut a long story short, it popped down because we had a fallout, you know what I mean? A dispute to where it got rectified, but it was never really the same. So this was probably around May times and stuff like that. So we all went our separate ways. So on a Sabbath or Shabbat, like I said to you earlier, from Friday to Saturday, my routine would be to wake up, worship the Most High, sing praises to His name, pray and read the scriptures. So I remember around 5 o'clock in the evening, I usually tune into one of my mates in Brooklyn called G, that's the Prophet. He's the go-to guy when it comes down to Hollywood subliminal messages in films and stuff like that, that have subliminal meanings and connections to us, etc., etc. So I remember seeing on his feed for a few weeks prior to me watching the video that day, that he had begun a series called Jesus on Trial Part 1 and 2, etc., etc. You know what I mean? So I don't know what it was, but previously, weeks before, my mind wasn't really there, because I was like, okay, cool. So you're getting to the knowledge that Jesus' name isn't really Jesus, it's Yahushua or Yeshua, etc. So I thought he was there, but that evening, I said to myself, you know, let me watch this video. So I'm watching the video, and I can't lie, I was angry halfway through it, because he was basically refuting Jesus Christ, who he was, etc., etc. But one thing that did stand out that he was talking about was the point he made about King David ruling in the New Jerusalem at the end of the age of the Gentiles, basically, and it wasn't Jesus or Yahushua or Yeshua. So I remember messaging him on the live, and I said to him, yeah, so what are you saying, that the Most High didn't send his son to die for us? So he said, no, he didn't. Watch this video that I'm going to send to you on the email and the link. I'm going to put it up on my online school. Check it out. So I finished watching his live, sat down, had a drink of water, and I've gone back into the room. So I'm watching this video that he's telling me to watch. So after watching it, my life hasn't really ever really been the same, because like I said to you, I was brought up week in, week out, being told that Jesus was the Son of God. He came to die for us, and through him we will get salvation. And if you don't believe in Jesus, you can't get to the Father, etc., etc. So I was confronted with the two pills that Morpheus came to Neo with, you know what I mean? And I took the pill, and it hasn't really been the same ever since. So I'm not going to say I've been going down the rabbit hole, like to say I've been fasting myself and I'm listening to things that I shouldn't be listening to, but I'm telling you, man, things just have never really been the same, because I've done thorough research and checked certain things out, and certain things don't add up, period. You know what I mean? And we're not going to be able to get to any of the points what I'm saying, because this isn't really the time. But know for a fact that I'm going to be coming with some serious fire and some serious heat. So if you want facts, proof, no problem, because that's what you're going to get. But anyway, I remember watching a video, walking up and down my street, 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock, standing by the door, watching the moon from one position to literally watching the moon move, probably for about 30 minutes. Starstruck, you know what I mean? Couldn't sleep, walking up and down, sweating, all sorts. Couldn't sleep. Went to sleep probably about 5 o'clock. So I remember the next day, I said to myself, who can I speak to about this, man? You know what I mean? Can't speak to somebody that's in the church, because they're going to ask me if I've started smoking weed again, etc. So I've called Curtis, and I've said to Curtis straight away, I just got straight into it. I said, Curtis, man, why didn't you tell me that the Old Testament contradicts the New Testament, and the New Testament contradicts the Old Testament, etc., etc. And all he kept on saying was, praise the Father, praise the Most High. So I said, why are you saying that? So he said, because on Thursday you crossed my mind and I wanted to call you, but I got the unction that you was in a place where you were searching or whatever, but I just felt it wasn't the right time to call you and stuff. And obviously you've left your Greek and Hebrew study Bible at my house. I was looking at it and you came to my mind. So when I'm saying what I'm saying to him, he was like, listen, man, I've got a confession. This is where I've been for about a year and I've just haven't found the courage to tell anybody about it, etc., etc. But look how the Most High's hit you up with certain things, and now you've called me and we're on the same level type of thing. So we was talking for a bit, and I said to Curtis, we're gonna have to tell Zuri, man, you know what I mean? Like, do a bit more studies and stuff, check a few more things out. We need to pray and we need to fast, because I don't want to be wrong about this, you know what I mean? I was going to my bed with literal tears in my eyes, because going against the Most High, you don't really want to do, you know what I mean? If that's the only person that I'm afraid of on this earth, is the Most High. So I was put in a place to where I didn't want to be wrong, you know what I mean? So after my prayer and fasting for a short period, more light was revealed to me, more investigations was done, and I'm now at that place where I'm not going to turn back. I know what the truth is, and I'm loyal to the truth, not what people can't validate as being facts or the truth, regardless of whether you may say you're going by faith or whatever. The truth is the truth, and based on the book that Christians claim to go by, which is the Bible, all of the things that I'm talking about can be proved based on the book that we all read. You know what I mean? So it got to the stage where things just kept on popping up, one after the other, 2 a day, 3 a day, 5 a day, to where people are going to be so shocked, thrilled at the way they've been lied to and manipulated. You know what I mean? And this is why I was moved to start this Talk That Talk media platform, because this is something that can't be kept quiet. You know what I mean? I think once a lot of people have time to get over the hurt period and stuff like that, then a lot of people's minds will be liberated and set free to where you will have purpose and things will make sense. You know what I mean? So that's my history into my childhood to where I am now. Right? Peace and see you soon.
So we've established who gave us religion, churches, etc., when these religions started, and so on. So on to the last part of we've been lied to from the start. This part may come across offensive, and I do not wish for it to come across offensive, and I honestly understand, because I felt the same for a period too. But I was able to accept the truth and to move on because I am loyal to the truth. So let's get into it. How could a man sent from God to reform mankind, because God was unable to do it with his original plan of the 10 Commandments, his statutes, end up causing so much division to where you have over 30,000 different types of followings of this man, making it a lifetime achievement into understanding the simple concept of keeping the commandments to live. Having 12 eyewitnesses who to this day can't seem to agree on where he was born and what town he grew up in. These 12 followed everywhere he went, followed everything he would do and everything he would say. The first thing which should stand out is the Father, the Most High, set out with one testament to begin with, who is renowned and known for not changing, must have failed in his attempts to why the New Testament was given to us, which he clearly didn't. What will be proven in the coming weeks, months ahead, is the Old and the New Testament is the great conflict of interest, and it is only the New Testament that brings so much divisions. You're going to also see through these blatant contradictions how they were able to engineer different doctrines, churches, beliefs, and why there are so many different views on this one man. You're going to see how God of the Old Testament acted on a need to see and hear basis, and not just a need to hear in our days. The word salvation, according to the Strong's Concordance, really means the Most High delivering his people from their enemies, not believing in a man who claims through the majority of his teachings that you can only get salvation through him if we just believe and have faith. The main things used to keep us in this deception. In the current times of crisis and uncertain times we are living in, we cannot afford for anything but the truth to be involved in, with facts and real life evidence. I know all the Christian go-to texts I expect to get responded to, so I've left a few down below to let you know these texts have nothing to do with your Jesus. There has been a lot to take in one sitting, so I'm going to leave with a couple points that prove that if you believe in your Jesus and the New Testament, you are going against the God of the Old Testament and what he says. And if you believe in God, the Most High in the Old Testament, you are going against your Jesus of the New Testament. Why do you think your Jesus said you cannot serve two masters? And why do you think Elijah said choose you this day whom you will serve. Both different testaments saying the same thing. Exodus chapter 4, 22 to 23. Exodus chapter 4, 22 to 23. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto thee, Let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even your firstborn. So here we clearly see who the Most High is claiming his son to be, and his only son. So, as we can see again, the Old Testament claiming God's only son being Israel, Jacob, and the 12 tribes adopted by the Most High. Because I'm sure we're all aware of what happened when Jacob wrestled with the angel in the night. Jesus is our enemy's version of the Son of God, created for us to take our attention from the real Son of God, Jacob, and his children, and making the world believe it was Jacob, the children of Israel, who conspired to kill him via the Romans, that would later validate why Jacob and Israel would be cut off. And now anybody can be the sons of God. These dudes are clever, but not clever enough to fool us anymore. I hope you enjoyed part 1 of our 4-part series, Royalty is Skin Deep. Stay tuned for part 2, Fits Like a Glove. Peace.